how's it going? Love and peace. This is Ray. I want to talk about, and I'm sure I briefly touched upon this, but I like to go back as often as I possibly can to visit some of the previous recordings that I've made, just for the fact that sometimes you miss something. Sometimes you want to add to it. And it's simpler to just go back and change the label on the channel and say, part 1 and part 2, than it is to sometimes capture the essence of the message that you're trying to bring across. One thing I want, so before I continue, let's just call this recording knowing our blessings. Knowing our blessings. Many of us are blessed with so much in our lives, and it's not necessarily blessed with with like you have millions of dollars and you can buy any car you want, you can do whatever you want, stuff like that. We're blessed with so many of the greatest things that we have in our everyday lives. The number one thing that we have is our health. The health, without the health, it doesn't matter how much money you got, doesn't matter, the attractive guy or the attractive girl or big juicy family or nice family, it doesn't matter all these successes and riches and stuff like that if you don't have any health to be able to enjoy it. That's the greatest wealth right there. The second greatest wealth is the wealth to be able to recognize and know who and what you truly are, knowing your true path, your true direction in life. That's such a blessing. That's just a great wealth right there. It's I myself find myself that no matter how many times I go through ups and downs, and I'm telling you honestly, even though I make these recordings, and even though you have great teachers out there, I don't care how successful they are, they all go through issues. The difference is that they deal with it with the mindset that we talk about. And I myself, have been through a lot of things, and I don't like to go to talk about them that much, just for the fact that I don't like to give energy to the things that was. I like to give the energy to the things that I desire, that I hope, and I'm building on. But one thing that I've come across and I realize is that you need to be grateful for all that you have in your life. And knowing your path, like I said, is one of the blessings, just for the fact that when things get rough and you have doubts here and there, you're going to notice that when you have that knowing of what your path is, what you're supposed to be doing, that just brings such peace in your heart, because all of this out here may be chaotic, but that knowing of your path, what you're supposed to be doing. There are certain things that are uncertain, that things that we can control, people, circumstances, situations, and events. But when when the universe has shown you your true path, and it resonates with your heart, your mind, your soul, in perfect balance and perfect vibrational frequency, mind, body, and spirit vibrating at the perfect frequency of knowing that this is who I am, this is my path. That is such a blessing. And it just helps you get up, man. Helps you get up through the day, helps you keep going, helps you keep moving forward, helps you remember why you're here, and to continue to bless others. Another blessing, that great blessing that we have, is one of the third great blessings, is that we overlook as well, is the blessing to give to others. And there's so many ways to give to others. We don't necessarily have to be giving to others in the financial essence. It could be, the financial aspect. It could be in the form of energy. You can wish someone blessings. You can pray for people. You can send love. You can give a hug. You can, there's so many different ways, both direct and indirect, that you can give that energy to someone, whether you know them, whether you don't. The best part is when you can bless someone, even if it's long distance blessing, or even blessing nations and people who maybe never even get to meet in your entire life. But we know that there are people out there in need. You could say, you could bless people in different countries, different states, and just sending that desire, that absolute true intent that you wish them, perfect health, wealth, success, and all things that they do. That is sharing the blessing that you have, because everything that you have, that you currently have, and that you continue to progressively receive as you change your vibration from a lower to higher vibration, as you awaken more to your greater true self, you will attract more and more and more greater things. And you have to be able to give in return. The more you give, the more you receive. And again, it's not necessarily in the material aspect. Okay? So these are things that we need to understand. We are so blessed. Our minds are so in the future. We get caught up in the future, what we wish we had, what we want to have, that the anxiety kicks in, which creates separation because it creates resistance. And that just makes things more complicated for you and for the world, because you push yourself so far away from your desires that it takes longer for them to flow into your life. You got to be grateful for what you have. You got to be grateful for, that penny. You got to be grateful for your health. You got to be grateful for that piece of bread that you have in your fridge. Whether it's the only thing you have in your fridge, you got to be grateful. Just to give you a little history, 8 years ago, I went through a separation, divorce, and I didn't have, for a whole year, I was barely making any money. I wasn't working. I lost everything, and lost my job, lost everything, and it was just, people that were supposed to be there, they were not there, and all these different things happened. It was the beginning of my story. Everybody has a beginning story. That moment in life, we make that finite decision and say no more. And that was my story. That was the beginning of my story. And those are just the ifs and the buts. So what? Everybody has a story. It's what you do after that. And just to give you a little bit of the background of where I'm coming from, I went and I was able to make a decision that I was going to change my life, and I did, and I did that because I knew that there was more. I started appreciating the things that I had, and one thing that I didn't have was hot water. I had an abundance of cold water, but I had no hot water. Couldn't really afford to pay my hot water bill. But I was able to be grateful for the cold water. And I'm taking showers in the midwinter. In Buffalo, it gets really cold. So I'm taking these crazy cold showers, but I made a decision that I was going to be grateful for the hot water. So while I was taking my cold showers, like I'm saying and repeating it to myself, sometimes I used to scream out loud, I'm grateful and thankful for the abundance of hot water, both hot and cold. And I say it all the time. I still say that to this day. But what happened is that as I continued to repeat it, I continued to build that paradigm, that belief system in my head. It continued to grow to the point where the gratitude was natural, was true. It was a true, real gratitude. It wasn't fake. Some people say they believe in something, but subconsciously they don't. And then they wonder why they don't get what they want, but they keep getting the other thing that they don't want, because subconsciously, you still believe more on what you don't want than what you say you believe in. Okay? So what happened was, I continued to believe that I was living in abundance of both hot and cold water. And I did that for a lot of years. And it finally set into my head. And finally, I found myself living more with hot water than cold water. Things change, financial things change, my life changed, and I've been blessed since then with being able to take as many hot baths as I want, and I love it, and I'm grateful, and I'm thankful for that. Something so simple as hot water is another great blessing. We live in a world of abundance all around us. What are you putting your energy to? What are you giving your attention to? Are you being negative or sad or complaining about you don't have new shoes when you have 50, or that you're not seeing the greatest sunset in the world, when you can see all of that here, when you're alive, you're breathing? There's so many things that we could be grateful for. Make it your Make it your responsibility, no one else's, to every day find something you're grateful for. One good technique is to every day write 4 or 5 things down, 10 things down of what you're grateful for. I don't care if it's repetition of the same thing. The next day you're repeating the same thing, doesn't matter. Eventually you start to, once you vibrate at that frequency of gratitude, you'll be able to write so much that you wouldn't even be able to fill. You wouldn't have enough paper. And once you get to that point where you're just vibrating at the level of gratitude all the time, you won't even need to write it on the paper anymore, because it'll be like the light switch. You know where that light switch is at, and you flip that light switch all the time, and you want to keep it on all the time because it's gratitude, it's joy, it's love. It's that high vibrational frequency that allows you to easily and effortlessly flow into the law of flow, which allows us to connect to source, which allows us to change our lives, and that's where the magic happens. Gratitude is such an important thing. Gratitude means being able to appreciate the most minute, smallest things in your life. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter what it is. Mentally, physically, or spiritually, just be grateful for all the things that you have. When you start there, and you start building that momentum, that's where the law of speed kicks in. Start with what you have. Okay? Just take action by being grateful for anything, being happy for what you got, and know that as you're healthy, and you're alive, and you breathe, and your heart beats, that you have an opportunity to change your life. Spend more time in being grateful and less time in the things that we don't desire, and focusing on the things that we don't desire, on complaining and worrying and stressing about things that we don't have. For what you don't have, someone else has. And what you do have, someone else does not have. What I mean by that is that the things that you may be worrying about, stressing about, somebody else is wishing they had. For that cold, freezing water that I was like bearing and taking on while I was taking those cold showers in the winter, someone else was just wishing they had water. Just a drop to quench their thirst. It is your responsibility to be grateful. The byproduct of what I'm saying to you is that the more you practice this vibrational way of being, the byproduct is you will start to vibrate at higher levels of vibrational frequencies. The reason we need to be at those higher level vibrational frequencies is because it will overall increase our health, increase our level of existence. We'll live a better life. We'll attract more things, people, circumstances, situations, and events that we truly desire. And the better you're doing, the more that you can do for others. It's a trickle-down effect. That's the key. This is the trick. This is how you do it. Okay? By being grateful. Be grateful for everything that you have. Because you're going to realize that things that you're not grateful for right now, that are blessings in disguises, you're going to realize that you may not have them later on. And then you're going to be wishing that you had them. So you want to be grateful for what you have. It's not easy. It's not easy. This is not for kids. You got to have fun with this stuff. You got to be grateful and thankful, but you also got to bring that your game. You got to bring that adulthood to the table. You see what I'm saying? You got to know, this is who and what I am. This is what I bring to the table. I'm going to have fun on this path. I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm experiencing, I'm changing, I'm creating things. And I'm awakening to my higher, true, divine self within. That's a blessing. Thank you, God. But you also got to understand that there are going to be things that are going to be, come before you. And if you're not bringing in that adult mindset of, okay, I see this, I'm gonna have fun with this, but I'm gonna whip this thing's rear end. I'm gonna whip it. I'm gonna do what I gotta do. I gotta keep moving forward, and I'm gonna be grateful about it, and be humble about it, and be loving about it. It's not about the path and the development of the self, or the awakening of the self. It's not about somebody else or somebody else's business, meaning you being in someone else's business, or someone else being in your business, or worrying about this or that, or what your job is doing, what management's doing, or what the water's doing. That's not your business. We're so much into other people's business that when it comes down to at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of the month, at the end of the year, because all that time builds up. The more time you spend on somebody else's business, that builds up. And when you least expect it, you have less time and investment within yourself. And so therefore, less return, less positive return. And you're going to get return no matter what, because these laws are in effect no matter what, whether you like to believe it or not. And the return is, since you put more time in the negative, you're going to attract more of the negative. So be wise. Be smart. Put your attention, which is your energy, on the things that you want, which will be the vibrational frequency connection to your desires and wants. So the alignment to what you want. So put your attention in alignment with the things that you want. If a person or a thing or a circumstance, situations is not in alignment with what you want, then give your attention to those things that are. And watch how all those other things fall away. They'll fall away. That's how it works. But it all starts with a simple gratitude. Be grateful. Life is awesome, and so are you. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Give me a thumbs up. I appreciate it. As always, this is Ray. Love and peace.